I know in our earlier conversations, we talked about the difference between release testing and characterization testing, and as far as importance goes, and when you should be thinking about each. So, Stephan, we could start with you since you're on my screen right now. I want to know, how do you think about release testing versus characterization testing? How early should developers be planning and validating their methods for release testing, and when
Yeah.
should they do the same for characterization?
Yeah,
More importantly, what
so
does the FDA expect, I guess,
yeah, well, I think for now we still have some grace time before the Q14 really hammers us in, and it becomes a global expectation. And so within the paradigm of Q14, and I had a lot of discussion with that with multiple agencies in recent weeks, is that in this enhanced approach, your ATP is actually really critical, and it's even more critical for ATMPs, right? As we have a moving target, right? As we are preclinical, so we through the IND phase, we will get likely more pressure by the agencies to have more control of not just potency, but also safety or potency related safety, right? And the agency want us to do well on going quickly in an accelerated product development, typically in this space, where we actually do only have two phases, right? We go from a phase one typically straight into a pivotal, right? And the pivotal is really the phase where you're licensing out of, right? So that there's not much space or opportunity for changes during the pivotal trial. And so it's really all about how are you moving out from the initial clinical phase into commercial. It's really quick, right? So lost my train of thought. What we were talking about in the first place?
We were talking about characterization testing.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
release
sorry,
testing.
yeah. So because we typically end up with a panel of potency or potency supporting assays, and especially for autologous products, right? As autologous products have that patient specificity, the way the patient lots get manufactured. And so what's often misunderstood is that there are patient-specific quality attributes which are unique for autologous products. And those really also then go into your potency. And then there's other things that are possibly not unique to the actual patient lots that you're going to be making. So it's important to have repetitive kind of control strategy reviews where you're looking at the intended assay and use for all testing you're doing. And it's not uncommon that a characterization test becomes a routine release test and vice versa, right, in this space. So, and sometimes it's whether we like it or not, is simply the agency tells us you need to make that into a specification test, right? So all that happens, right? And it's important to be flexible and understand that with more knowledge as you're progressing, things change. And you have to redo your control strategy. And that means you have to see continuously evaluate the intended use of a method, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's a characterization test or routine test, it's release test, etc.